$1,000 one still in
Oh, I
Boss
just saw it now,
Motors.
and I didn't put it up.
Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Boss,
Present.
Pipia,
Here.
Graham. Present. Hughes,
Present.
Fry, Schroller,
Here,
Throm,
Present.
Barnes.
Present.
We have a quorum.
All right, and the first item is approval of minutes. I have a couple of changes. On page 6, which is 5 of 6 of the minutes, on number 3, I wanted to add the sentence that C.I. Richardson shared that the signs and locations have been approved by KDOT. I thought that was important to be in the minutes. And the only other thing I had was on page 6
Mayor,
of...
on that one, should it say something about direction signs?
where it says off-premise, you want to say direction signs? Okay. And on page 6 of 6, I just wanted to change that sentence slightly on number 1, where it says Mayor Grant suggested the Admin and Finance Committee meet to propose possible changes to the policy for longevity pay, because it was for the committee to meet. So, and go ahead. One other slight change, page 4 of 5, which is page 5. The second line on number 5, just change who is to was, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line from offering to offered. You got all that? Okay. You guys okay with those? Then anybody have any other amendments?
Yes, on page 4 of 6,
4, 6. Okay.
underneath City Administrator, number 3,
Number 3, okay.
on the third line, where it says beginning at, then we should eliminate Veterans Memorial Drive 19th and put 18th Street.
Is it 18th Street?
I spent 18 years there.
Okay. I'm glad you caught
Memorial
that.
Drive is only from the intersection of Carolina to the entrance of the ball field.
Oh, really? Okay.
And 19th is where,
Casey says?
no, well, I'm not sure what their address is. 19th is where the, what is it called there? Not the VFW,
Armory.
the Legion, American Legion is not on 19th Street.
Okay. Okay. So we're changing at Veterans Memorial Drive 19th to 18th Street.
No, it shouldn't be any 19th on there. It should just say beginning at 18th Street and continuing west to 17th Street.
Okay. So it's just one block? Is it just one block, Austin?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have anything else?
No.
Okay, well, thanks for reviewing it. I would appreciate a motion to approve as amended, please.
I'll put it amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. All right, the next section is for public comments. Anyone who's not on the agenda is welcome to come to the podium. There can share up to 5 minutes, first, last name, address, and ward. That would be you. Because I don't see you on the agenda.
I filled out the piece of paper, so I didn't know if that meant I was on the agenda or not.
She is.
on.
She is?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
she's number 2.
Are you Pat? Sorry,
Do you want me to sit back down and wait?
you have to wait. So is there anyone who's not on the agenda? I'll correct that. All right, next time is homecoming parade. Are you Mitchell Shepherd?
No, I'm
Who are you?
Aaron Cook. I'm the student council president at Marysville High School.
I'm sorry, say your name again?
Aaron Cook.
Aaron Cook. All right, Aaron. And is there anything you want to add on page 8 about this request?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Now, we usually participate in that. So what do we need to do?
For the,
The city council, the governing body, we usually participate in the homecoming parade. What do we do?
show
Okay.
up, I guess.
Join
Should I
them.
contact Mitchell Shepherd?
Yeah, that
Okay.
would be good.
All right. So are you guys okay to allow him to block off 5th through 13th for the homecoming parade?
Yep. Madam Mayor, I move that we block off Broadway, September 28th, 2/18 at 2:15 in the afternoon for the parade. It'll go from 5th to 18th Street,
5th to 13th Street?
13th Street, sorry.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, Aaron. Now, I was thinking what a good idea for us would be if we got the street sweeper out and say, sweep the Raiders. We got a brand new $200,000 street sweeper, so we should show it off. And I thought we could carry the little sign, sweep the Raiders. And Kevin, if you can't walk it, I thought you could
I'll
ride
be
it.
able to walk it by then.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
And then the rest could
Couple
carry
weeks out,
brooms.
Oh,
Don't
I
you think
thought
that's-
we would learn how to drive it.
Well, I think
we
it's
did the
only, I think
lawnmowers.
it's only 2-seaters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't
Only
it?
2 seats.
So we have to have a driver from the city, but somebody can ride. But you guys, if you guys have a better idea, you're welcome to bring it. Anybody have a better idea? You think it's a good idea?
That's a good idea.
What do you think, Aaron?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. All right.
Just look out.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for coming.
Just don't get-
Now, Pat, you can come.
My name is Pat Seamatter, and I'm a member of the Evangelical United Church of Christ. And this year, we're planning a live nativity on December 16th. And it'll be from 5 to 7 in the evening. And we were wondering if we could have permission to close off Elm Street from 9th to 10th Street. And it really won't even be the whole, it's just that we got half a block on the north side of our church, so that people that are unable to get out of their cars can just drive up, view the nativity set, and then drive on, like older people or, people that just can't get out of their vehicles very well. A lot of people will walk by, but just for the convenience of the ones who aren't able to do that. And I did talk to Todd Ackerman, just to give him a heads up on it. And so he's aware of it, and I just need to know if we could have your permission to do that.
Now, are you going to have volunteers there so people know, so people know to drive through?
We will have it marked off with cones, is how they did it last
Not to
time.
park
They said you can park across the street and just be right in front of there on the south side, that will have kind of a lane for people to drive through.
Kind of where your off-street parking is there, Pat.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the north side of the church, yeah, exactly.
So you did this live nativity last year?
No, we
Okay.
haven't done it for a few years. This is our 150th birthday this
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
so we've been doing special things every month. And so-
Congratulations.
Yeah, but so this year, for December, we thought it'd be nice to have a live nativity set again, so.
I think
what
that's
we're doing.
great. Did you happen to ask Las Cabañas?
I haven't been able to get in touch with them yet.
Did you happen to ask Las Cabañas?
They didn't, across the street, they aren't open unless they choose to be open.
On Sunday?
Yeah, on Sunday evening, they're not open, according,
Oh, okay, that
yeah,
answers my
according
question.
to what their sign said anyway.
Oh, what time do they close on Sundays?
3, I think.
Don't ask me that. Yeah, it's
I think
an after, it's an
It's
after
2 or
lunch
3,
time.
yeah.
Okay.
But they aren't open that day, and nobody else, kind of.
Yeah,
dead
no,
in
that would be the
area.
only business that would be affected. So you guys have any questions for Pat? Then I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve blocking off the north side of Elm Street between 10th, 9th and 10th.
Not the north side of Elm Street, the south side of Elm Street.
South side Elm Street, north side of their property, yes, in front of the UCC church here for their live nativity scene.
I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. All right, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, if you have time, stop in.
I
And
will let it.
this month, on the 21st and 22nd, we're gonna have a quilt show. On the 21st, which is a Friday, from 12 to 7, and then on Saturday, from 10 to 3. So feel free to come and view it. It's free of charge, and we're just gonna show off some of our handiwork. So we're
On the
celebrating the quilting ladies of our church this month.
Oh, cool, so that's September 21st?
1st and 22nd, yeah.
Okay.
And we're also gonna have a mum sale. So if you haven't bought your mums yet, we'd love to sell
A
some.
mum sale,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All
very
right,
much for
thank
your
you,
time.
Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was asking if she needed.
More mums?
Yeah.
Are you a mum lady? All right, the next one was put in by Diane Schroller. Diane, would you like to share?
Well, we're not saying that we're going to, we're not asking for $500. We're just asking, because Sharon Kessinger and Beth Skinner, Sharon works on Water Tower Hill, and Beth Skinner, she buys plants for the 7th Street corridor, and also for the horse here, the Pony Express horse. And since the garden club disbanded, we also have things that we need to get for the rose garden, or the garden at the park. So sometimes we may need plants, and they buy stuff themselves, and we may need to buy some flowers once in a while to replace things at the garden. So what I was requesting is, if we do buy things, any of us, Sharon and Beth and I, and maybe Cheryl, and I can't remember what Cheryl's name is, we do buy flowers and replacement things, and if it would be okay if we had receipts, if we brought them in and asked for reimbursement for these, up to a total of $500. That doesn't mean that we're going to spend $500. It may be $100. And I've talked to the other ladies, and we've agreed to share this. I mean, one of us may need $200, one group may need $200, one group may need $100 during the year. So, you know, we won't spend over $500 total, so, because
Well-
that's what.
Can you be the sign-off person that you approve it, or don't you need something, Debbie?
Yeah.
That shows that, I mean, so otherwise, we would have to keep a list of everything.
That's fine.
So the easiest, is that the easiest way? You tell
Well, and
me.
I think too that Dale was kind of indicating he would like to know what plants are in there. Some are easier to maintain than others. You know, if we're gonna
Oh, if you're gonna plant,
help, or if we're gonna lose some of our volunteers, then,
then
You
Dale
know, it
wants to be.
sounds like
yeah, he kind of
Dale
indicated he would like
ought to
that.
coordinate it.
And, you know, if the city purchases some of the plants, then they're tax exempt. If you go in and purchase something, then maybe you would pay tax, and I don't know how everybody feels about reimbursing tax, but
Well, so,
that could create an issue.
so do you guys want them to go through Dale to purchase them?
Well,
Or
and then
is that too long a
coordinate.
step for that? I mean, in the past, they just went out and bought them, right?
They buy them and
And
pay
then they-
for them themselves, and sometimes these ladies have spent a lot of their own money,
I
and they're
believe that.
they're not asking for this. I just feel like the city maybe owes it to these ladies to reimburse them for some of this. Besides, they spend a lot of hours and a lot of time, because I spend some time, and I know they spend a lot more time than what I do, and I just think it would be nice if we maybe reimbursed them for some of this, so, and,
So would Dale want that? Would Dale want,
Well, I think the idea was that he just know what's going in there. That way he knows how to treat it after a while. If it does, if volunteers continue not to, I guess.
volunteer?
Volunteer.
Okay, so I guess I just thought there should be one control person, so Cindy doesn't have to keep track of everybody who has authority to spend this money. So Diane, if you're willing to
that's,
have them run it through you,
that's fine with me.
and then the tax implication is probably small. I mean, if they want the city to buy them, they could ask the city to buy them. Otherwise, yeah, but Austin's point is they just, once you go to sign off, just make sure with Dale that he's okay with it. You want her to call you directly?
Not that he's okay with it. I'm sure you guys have been working on this for quite a while, just so we have a list of plants.
The plants that you put in.
That's the simplest thing to say.
They've been putting plants in there. A lot of people volunteer plants. I mean,
Right.
they've been putting things in, and they're not gonna put things in there
I don't
that aren't
think
going
there's gonna be a big issue.
I don't think there's gonna be a problem. There hasn't been in the past, and, you know, things die, things need replaced, and like I say, Beth and Sharon both are very good about what, I don't think that should be a problem, so.
And so this $500, is that for a year, for what year? Or
Well,
is it a year?
I would say not over $500 total for a year, and I seriously doubt that it's gonna get to that unless it would have to be a tree or something like that, you know, that would have to be replaced. I mean, you know, like the garden down there has trees, there are some trees out there, and sometimes they can get a little
So-
expensive. And that's what the garden club, you know, had for,
So per year, beginning now, is that what you want?
I would say,
Okay.
but it probably won't be we probably won't start until spring. I doubt if we're gonna be planning anything
Okay.
now. I would say in a year's time, from say January 1 to January 1 or whatever time frame you want, so.
Well, if you're gonna buy any though in the fall, we should do it now, so that there's authority.
Yeah, okay, well, we can say start September 1 to September, from September
August
1
31.
to August 31st or something.
Okay, I'm okay with that. So you'll be the point person, and so if your signature's on it, you're fine with it, and you'll kind of track it.
Right?
You guys have any other questions to Diane? Are you guys okay with that? Do you have any problem with a council member doing the approval? Oh, okay, I just want to make sure.
We promise not to abuse it.
No, I meant you personally, I just,
I mean, the receipts, it actually makes it better to have just a point person, like you say. That way, we're not getting 15 receipts from this person, and yeah, it makes it just slims it right up.
okay. So I entertain a motion other than from Diane to approve this. With her being the point person and they have that $500 per year.
Move to have Diane Schroller be the point person for reimbursing volunteers for flowers and trees and stuff up to an amount of $500 per year,
Beginning September 1.
and in August 31st.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0, all right. I'm sorry.
She probably wants
I
to
abstain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's probably a good idea.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, and all your volunteers,
Yeah.
very, very, very
They
much.
spend a lot of time out there.
Okay, the next thing is the ordinance. And when I looked at this is the first ordinance we had Marshall County. Is there a reason why we put Marshall County in there,
Where are you at?
in the heading? Usually we just say Marysville, Kansas. I was just curious about that.
No, we've had others like
That have Marshall County. Okay, so my question was, when I looked up this article on chapter 14, and basically it says, when there's a bus loading and unloading zone, that if it's a vehicle, or if it's anything other than a bus, it has a 30-minute restriction. I'll read this from 14-201. The 30-minute restriction shall not apply to buses parked in areas designated as school zone, bus zone. So the question I have is, so this, we need to put, so the 30 minutes doesn't apply. So do we put a time limit in there? Because otherwise, why wouldn't they just park there? Because, so in our code book, it says, except for the school buses. And this is for school buses. So should we put a section in there that says how long they can stay there? Because otherwise, since our code doesn't specify it.
That or just put no parking of private cars.
No, it's not, I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about how long the buses stay there.
Madam Mayor, I like the way it is because if it's a bus there, they're a visiting bus and they're using the place for the people inside. When they get done, they'll leave. It don't need a time for buses.
Well, I thought the reason why we made it a unloading zone is so they didn't park there for the
Right,
entire
it's
event.
only for loading and unloading, not to stay parked there.
Well, they can't use it for like a place for the halftime for the football players to go get in.
Don't they go to the
That's too bad.
You know, Saturday, they were parked all along there.
I know, they were there all day, well, we don't have it
All along.
posted right
No,
now.
I understand that. And where we're gonna post it won't bother them buses that park to the south anyway. Because we're only looking at the first 2 stalls off of Walnut going south.
We're putting it at the front of it.
I would, yeah,
Is that
that's where I would
That was
imagine
where
it
he
going.
wanted it, yeah. Was at the north end of that, up against that bump out. I wish I was here, I'm sorry I was gone last week. I have a problem being a bus driver because when kids come out and get their gear, usually they throw what doesn't fit on the passenger side, has to go around and get put in on the driver's side. And with 77 being that close, I've watched it time and time again,
You don't even think we should have a
I
bus
don't
loading
think we
there?
should have it there, period. But that's my opinion of it. Because all one kid's gotta do is walk out in front of that bus to come around the corner, and if a semi or something's got an oversized load on it coming down there,
You think, there's a space on the driver's side that you can
driver
load
and
it up?
passenger side for them to put their uniforms.
Gear in?
Huh?
Their gear in
Their
and
gear
stuff?
and all that stuff in, yes.
I didn't think about that.
Like I said, I seen this on the deal after we watched it, and I thought,
How do you guys feel about that? It's a valid point.
I guess, didn't think about that. Not a bus driver.
Yeah.
Not a bus driver.
I know.
You're
I
only
under-
bus driver
Yeah, I
on
know.
council.
But you know, that was just one of the things, because I know when we go different places, I know like at our school currently, by the fenced area, that's where we're supposed to go in with our buses. Where their new parking lot is,
Yeah,
okay, clear against the fence on the east side, they have that designated for bus loading and unloading for our
within
local.
within the parking lot?
Within the parking lot, yes. But then you can go right from that point, right along through the gate and come in on the east side of the new locker room into the gyms that way.
And you're totally off the highway.
Totally
So
off
I
the
wonder
highway.
why they couldn't continue doing that.
I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't here to ask that question.
And Mr. Mullins isn't here tonight.
No. Like I said, I was just looking at it from the safety of kids, because I've never been any place else that I've had to let kids go around on the driver's side to
You're right, on the highway. I never
access
done that.
gear and stuff out. You know, if they had a lane or something, they could get over a little bit.
Well,
and
that's
put
what I said. I wish
Put
that I
some
would have known.
K-rails or something up to, like they have up at the elementary school to keep the kids safe. You know, it might be a different thing, but,
Well, I told him, I said, if we would have known you wanted that, we should have cut the curb in.
right, yeah.
But then I went down there and the utility poles are right there, so
Right.
you can't cut
And
it
it's
in.
dark right there too, if you've ever been through there at night. It's not a real lit up area.
Well, what we can do is not vote on this and ask Mr. Mullins to come back at the next meeting. You think that's the best? How do you guys feel about his concern? I never thought about it. You
No,
guys-
it's valid. I mean, that would be the worst thing to have happen. I mean,
I
not,
hate to, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna pass on this and ask Mr. Mullins to come to the next meeting. You can communicate our concerns and see if he has a solution other than, if they're already doing that though,
Yeah, like I said, the buses are already parking there, you know, to the,
well, let me turn everything around a minute and just going back to that being a parking area. If they do the loading inside the parking area,
they can get 3 buses against that fence back there.
you can. And you think they should just leave them there during the event?
I don't know why they can't.
Okay,
They
well,
leave them parked on the highway during the event.
so we'll ask Mr. Mullins to return, or someone representing the school. Okay?
Yeah.
You guys all right with that? Thanks for sharing that. It's always good to have a lot of experience around the table. Okay. So there are no notices and hearings. The consent agenda is basically city clerk's report, municipal judge report, and revenue and expense reports.
approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. The appropriations ordinance,
Move to approve appropriations ordinance 3682.
Second.
is there any discussion? Oh, Darlene doesn't want to point out the big expenditures. I'm looking right at you, waiting for you to do that.
Yes, well, let's see. We did make the Breeding Heights loan payment of $24,689. And Larson Construction, North Street line, Phase 2, payment of $90,486.
And payroll and ambulance.
Yes, of course, the monthly ambulance, what is it, 12,266.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Boss,
Yes.
Pipia,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Fry,
Yay.
Troller,
Yes.
Crom,
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
8-0.
All right. Staff reports?
First thing up, got redid the salt shed bid request with a 30 by 60 shed. What we added was 110 feet of drive that runs parallel, and I pardon my drawing, kind of sketched it out how we see it going in there. So at the end of Walnut, at the west end of Walnut, we add on a 110 feet of driveway, 24 foot wide, so the semi can come in and basically dump along that 110 feet. And what they would do is they drive in, drive around this gravel drive that we ourselves would install, come back in and stop at the end of the salt shed, start dumping and drive, and then we come in, scoop it in, they back up and do it again and
I was
until they're
wondering,
done.
so they're gonna drive around first
Yeah, they're gonna,
and then start dumping?
yep.
And that 24 feet will give them enough for 2 shots to dump?
It's basically the street width. Basic street width is 26 feet. I came up with 24 feet because that's almost 2 widths. So they'll dump it and then we'll have enough space. We should have enough space to come in with a loader and push it in and get the skid steer in there and push it in as well. And they'll make a few passes like that and we'll scoop it all in there like that.
So 110 feet will give you 2 passes and it should empty
I
the
don't
truck?
know how many, he didn't say how many passes, but he said he needed, Gary said he needed at least this long a driveway to accomplish what they do now, so it's, yeah, it'd probably maybe take 3 passes.
I'm trying to think, how long is the normal, where they dump it now by the salt shed, do you know how long
A
they?
block is about 300 and some feet.
So they dump it half
Yeah.
blocks there?
Yeah.
310.
310.
And
Yeah, they dump it, I think they make a pass and make another pass on that street. I don't know if they need any more than that, but
for the half street, they
Yeah.
just do that half street? Okay.
yeah.
So 110, and then the salt shed. My only question to you was, so in his bid sheet, he had he had this drive, the base, and the walls.
And the walls, yes.
And I said, well, who's gonna make sure the roof fits on the walls?
We're going to, basically, there's gonna be a separate bidding process for the roof itself, because, all the people I've talked to, only do the roofs. So, the company out of Wichita, except for the fact that they would be happy to truck in those blocks for us if we wanted to do it that way. They said it was best if we just contracted the cement guys, if that's the way we wanted to go ourselves, because all he would do is do the exact same thing as find that. So it's easier for me to get the roof taken care of and then give those specs to our contractor, whoever wins the bid. and they can base it off of that. I'm pretty, after talking with the salt shed people, or the roof designers, that we can make it happen.
So all those salt sheds that I looked at, those were just roofs?
Yeah, everything, all the ones,
So all that I printed out,
the
those
main
were
part
roofs?
is the roofs. The blocks, we can, a lot of cities do it all themselves. They'll bring the blocks in because they have a provider right there that has lots of them, and they'll build it themselves, put it on their own, and then they also put the roof on themselves.
Okay.
So it's a easy do
I
it
just
yourself.
wanted to make sure it's gonna fit together, you know?
Yeah.
You looking at a bow roof?
Yeah, it just, yeah. That gives us a lot of space. I wouldn't figure, because the other option would be going vertical and then up, but there's no point in that, because we're not gonna put any salt up against that metal.
Right.
So just that bow's gonna give us quite a bit, especially with the height of the wall.
Bow being fabric,
No, just the arch.
The arch.
Yeah.
Over the top of it.
Yeah.
Over the top of the
it'll
walls.
be fabric though?
That's my next question. Do you want metal or fabric?
Metal's gonna rust, but fabric's gonna tear.
Where, yeah.
So-
What's the average life of the fabric ones?
I've been here, I mean, some people talk about 5 years, but they haven't given me the salesmen haven't given me an average lifespan.
You know, I wonder if you ask,
Like-
like the State Department and say, how long does that roof down there at Riley County last you? Just,
Yeah,
how
I'd like
often do you have to
get
replace it?
That one's a fabric one down there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
right at the line, the
Yeah.
Marshall County line.
Oh, okay. I can ask them that
I'd like to
question.
get a cost analysis on both of them, if we
Okay.
could. How long the metal one lasts.
Some of them, those examples had metal.
Yeah, and if the
And I don't know how
metal's
that,
treated,
Yeah. It's a thicker, and, because I asked steel buildings, I think Master or something like that, whatever, about their buildings, and specifically asked him about what was on sale, and he goes, what we have on sale is an eye catcher, and it's a thinner metal than what you would want for your
salt
salt.
of all the nerve.
Yeah.
you've been working with MMF?
Uh,
I get books from them all the time, that's why I was curious. And they've got
I
the,
can do a cost analysis. It shouldn't take too long. They're pretty easy to get a number from.
Okay.
So I'll do the cost analysis on each one of those. And
Does it
then
affect this bid?
Cost-
it won't affect this
cost analysis and lifespan.
lifespan, yes.
So it won't affect how you prepare these walls?
No.
Whichever roof?
Yeah, because I'll give these guys a month to respond, and then we'll have a few weeks in there where I'm asking for bids for the roof. And then I can clarify everything, because each roof has a different attachment setup. So when they pour the walls, they're gonna put I-beams or eyelets or something like that, so they can, but they need it in the exact spot.
Okay, so right now, when this bid, they have to bid by when? Where's your bid have to be in by?
I would, if this was okay, I'd give them a month, so it'd be,
November 30th is what you have on here.
The salt shed needs to be completed by November 30th.
but that bid,
Need to be finished this year.
yeah, October 10th, let's see. Yeah, well, I'll give them until Thursday, October 4th, if I get it out tomorrow. That way I can have it back for the first council meeting in
You
October.
think they can get it that quick?
I'm gonna ask, the bids, yes, they can get back. There's a chance
You just
they
see-
might not be able to get that November 30th deadline, might be a challenge. So I'll ask that question of the bidders too.
Okay. You know that, did you find that concrete company I told you about that
It's,
billboard?
yeah, it's on the
Okay,
billboard.
you got the name?
I haven't gotten Advanced Concrete, I haven't gotten the, I haven't written
Have you
down
seen
the-
that big sign? I've never heard us get anything from them, I just saw the big sign.
There's a gentleman out of Diller that does a lot of concrete work too.
Okay, so you're gonna say it has to be in by October 4th, and you believe that November 30th is gonna be
It might be a challenge with such
Do you
a
wanna make it-
short,
you wanna make it later, or are you afraid with concrete?
afraid
Can we
with
pour concrete forever?
No, you can't.
Do you want to make
It's
it to
gotta be-
December
It's gotta be
15th? That
covered and
makes a
heated.
difference?
and-
It's gotta be covered and heated. I'll leave the November 30th on there.
No.
And if I get too much pushback, I'll discuss with them on what
What
date
date needs to
on what
be.
date needs to be.
And then extend it out for everybody, do an
Yeah,
amendment?
yes. But October 4th, I can set for the due date.
Okay, yes, Terry?
Madam Mayor, I was curious, latest it's getting, we're only a couple months away from maybe needing salt. Is there any salt in our shed now?
Yes.
Is there a possibility that if we had to, we could get by with doing one more load of salt there?
Yes.
And not pushing this thing to where we could build this salt shed in the spring when we're not
There's-
trying to beat a timeline?
There's a possibility, and that's why, and that's a good point. If we do the bid date and have October 4th, and everybody has an issue with November 30th, at least we can set up a contractor for next spring. That way they can get it underway.
Yeah, sure.
That's a
Give you
good,
some breathing room. This isn't a necessity. We gotta have it ready by the first frost or nothing.
How do
No,
you
we
guys
can-
feel? Do you want to wait and push it back to spring or so late?
See how the bids come in. Yeah.
See what,
see what they say.
how will
what's
we know,
available.
how will we know if it's affected by the date? The price? How will we know if the price is affected by the date?
Can we put a
Could be.
clause in the bid?
As in, what do you
You
mean?
just have to maybe talk to Tony at CES and ask him approximately what it should cost. A wall that's 152 by 12 by 8, I mean, he could give you kind of a rough estimate.
For this whole thing, for all the concrete work?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I just don't want
streets-
the hurry-up date
Right,
affecting
I
the
understand that
price.
too, yeah.
And to know how we would know that
Because once the ground freezes, then your concrete shifts
Kinda
after it
screwy,
pours,
yeah.
so
after the ground
if
freezes.
the ground freezes and you dig it out, and then you pour like the driveway and stuff, it'll move in the spring. You
When
get
it
your
flaws out.
concrete to crack.
Yeah. Well, maybe, do you guys want to do this or you want
So-
to wait?
What if,
That makes me a little nervous.
we can wait. We can wait until the spring. And Gary already said that. We
Gary
don't-
said that?
Yeah, we don't need to push it like like Terry said. But do you want to still line up a bid, giving them the space of spring?
Yeah, we can give them till May.
Yeah, give them the space of
You want to
spring
give
to
them to
work.
May 1st?
That'd be great.
And if they
Yeah.
happen to say, we can do it this fall,
Yeah.
okay, but
I know contractors love it to know what they're doing
Well, they'll
next year.
do you
plan,
care
they'll plan
what
it out
date?
that way.
Yes.
And
Do you care
you're-
what
you'll be
date?
first on there.
That makes more sense.
Completion of, and
you want to throw out May 1st? I mean, I'm just threw a date out there. You care, does the ground have to be a certain
it
warmth?
should be
I mean,
thawed.
It should be thought.
May 1, June 1? June 1? Just throw
How
June
about
1?
how about May into May?
May 31?
Yeah. I think that's
Okay.
a good idea.
Okay, with that amendment, do you guys want to go ahead and approve this bid project for this,
And if that,
Bid request?
I'll even give them, since we're moving it out, we'll give them a whole month.
Oh, that's true.
October.
November.
So we're September 10th. So I give them till October 11th.
well, we don't meet till the 22nd, so you want to make October 18th?
October 18th, yes, that's
Okay.
fine with me.
October 18th.
That will give them enough time. Okay, 2 changes, October 18th and completed by May 31st.
Okay.
You want to approve that bid request with those changes?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
one other question about that building this, where I saw Austin's driveway, when you're gonna put this big deal of concrete, is that a proven fact that it's gonna outlast asphalt there? I don't know, but what asphalt would be a better route to go, because concrete don't last with salt on it either. And if we did it with asphalt, it might be a lot cheaper, and it might last just as long.
Well, right now, asphalt is about the same price. And they're both going up there. I mean, this is,
Is there a reason why you chose concrete?
It was just easier since they were already pouring
The base
the
and the
base.
walls?
Yeah.
Because does the base have to be concrete? And do we, I thought we were talking about we had to put some kind of protection on it.
That's what's
Yeah.
listed in there, a sealer.
Okay,
Yeah, the concrete sealer.
so,
Yeah, I mean, we saw that because we were gonna have the concrete floor poured. Might as well just keep it going.
Okay.
And that sealer, and I think Gary just went to a training about winterizing cement for salt, and seeing if we can make it work with that cement. I think we were gonna be just fine with the cement. And
now
that's a
where's
good
the,
point.
when it just says cured and sealed, that's the sealant
Cured
you're
and
talking
sealed,
about?
Yep.
But were you sealing the driveway,
Yeah.
the whole 110 feet?
Yeah, it should be. Where'd it go?
It's not in,
I
on
need to fix that.
Yeah, it's not on
Yeah,
there.
we should.
So
seal
you were
that.
gonna seal the
Yeah, seal
concrete
the
as well?
concrete, yeah.
Is that gonna change the price significantly?
Not significantly, since AHRS already puts the sealer on the street. I don't think we asked for it, but they bid it. So it's one of those standard things that nowadays, we might have them put it on extra heavy since we're gonna, or use different types, since we're going to put salt on directly on it.
So if we're gonna seal it, you believe it's gonna last longer than asphalt? Based on Terry's question?
I think it should last the lifespan of normal concrete, I think. No.
Terry, you're shaking your head no.
years.
Several people have told me that if we use asphalt and we gotta replace it, asphalt, salt doesn't bother asphalt. That's the reason they put it on streets. Salt does bother concrete.
Yeah.
So why do we have to put something down, then put a protector on it, when we could use asphalt and not have to put the protector on it?
Okay, what do you guys think?
Check in, see what prices are.
Have them bid both
Have them bid asphalt on
Asphalt
it, and have them bid concrete
versus
on it.
concrete cured and sealed?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I noticed we just bought $900 and some worth of concrete cure and seal this month. And that was just to replace whatever you used on the street to protect it from salt.
For the we put it on all concrete. So, any new concrete such as curb and guttering and
Okay.
sidewalks.
Is it something that we apply? Do we just spray it on it or something?
Yeah, we spray, yeah.
Okay, so now, based on all this, do you want to bring something back at the next meeting, giving them to bid both ways, concrete and asphalt, making those changes, since we're not under a time crunch?
Okay.
Since there's so many changes, are you guys okay? Did we already get a motion? No. Oh, good. So are you council okay to bring it back next meeting cleaned up? Did you get all the changes also?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that, but since we pushed it to Spring Road, don't you think it's okay?
That's
also?
fine. That's fine.
Okay,
It's up to you.
okay. Thanks for bringing that up, Terry.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then the next one is the Kester Restaurant porch
Oh, wait,
bids.
can I interrupt you just? So maybe by next week too, you can bring the cost benefit analysis of the
Yeah.
two roof surfaces? Okay, sorry.
All right, next one is the Kester Restaurant porch bids. We got two bids to do the porch, and this is basically a phase one of the whole project. It's how I described it, from the ground to the base of the pillars is what they're looking at fixing on this whole thing. Two bids, one from JD Construction, the other one from Roar the Handyman. And Roar the Handyman, which is Daryl Roar, he came in lower. Come back to the sheet. $25,500. and JD Construction was at 26,670. The original estimate that we got from Ralph Ballon when we first were going through this whole application, even before I got here, and I had him re-up the numbers, but 16,400. But as talking with each of the contractors, they went in and looked at the balusters on the porch railing, and Daryl pointed out that they're not exactly even. So the top is thicker than the bottom. If they were all up and down, it'd be a different sort of thing. But since they are different all the way around, it's not just one of them. It was every single one of them. They're designed that way. They're going to take up a ton of time
To create them,
to
to
create
match.
them to match. Yes.
And is there any, I mean, would it be cheaper to do the whole thing, or, no? That's
well-
a crazy thought.
Well, they are. I guess, what do you mean by different?
How far around on the porch are they going?
Anything, the whole porch. Anything, but they're not replacing all the balusters. They're only replacing the ones that need to be replaced.
So is it on the west side of the steps as well as the east side of?
Yes.
There's railings on both sides.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have some good railings on the.
We
on the
probably have
west side.
50%
Yeah.
railings that are good.
Yeah.
If you're including the east side.
You're gonna have to tear them apart anyway to paint them and prime them and.
Scrape them down, yeah. I know. And they figured the cheaper way was not to scrape them down, but to recreate them. That's where, yeah.
So would it be cheaper if they just made them to look similar, but made them so they weren't different dimensions?
I
and
would say
made it go all the way
yes.
around?
I would say yes, but it's a historic project.
Can they, but,
Historic.
Yeah.
but no, can they make it to look like that?
I think if we're not gonna replace them all, if we were gonna just go in and strip the whole porch, that would be an idea to come back with something similar, but,
There
We're
are still
just-
quite a few good ones.
Yeah.
The tops.
we're just
bottom's
replacing the
bigger than
ones.
top.
We're just replacing the ones.
Since we're going all the way around, there's probably not as many, although I think there's more broken out now than this picture.
Yes,
So I think we need to do it.
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Praise the Lord, we have two bids.
And then, the 16,400 is the 16,400 was without any paint. So we're kind of dipping into the phase 2 of the whole project, so, that, it will shave some of it'll help. The grant was based off of that 16,400. So they're paying 80% of that 16,400. They have said they are flexible if we find out something's more expensive, but I wouldn't bank on it because they kind of max out on a lot of things. They slim down on projects they can do and so on and so forth. But the question is going to be asked if we can include some of these extra expenses.
So when we submit it, he'll submit all of it and hope, and make a note that this includes some of phase 2 and hope that they pay as
It's
much as
going back
possible.
with tongue and groove pine, just like it's on it currently.
Yep. They named everything. Daryl knows what he's doing, I believe.
Well, I know that,
Yeah.
but I mean, the bid was for,
Yes. And I gave them, we need exact, or as close to, and then we're lucky that Lattice comes the same way, because they're just going and replace that, and that's gonna be the easy part for that. Yeah, the hard part are those balusters. If it was any other design, or if it was, it'd be back down, but that minor discrepancy in the profile is a killer.
So I think we need to proceed with this project.
I move that the bid for the handyman in the amount of $25,500 be approved.
Coming out of the Kessler Block Maintenance Fund? Was that always planned to come out of there?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. opposed? 8-0, all right.
All right, just a little update on financials. There's a slight change in the sewer fund. We paid for CIPP, and then some of the things that haven't shown up but
Or
are
a substantial change in the sewer fund.
Yeah, substantial change, but still higher than what it was last year at this point in time, so we're still looking good. All the funds are sitting pretty good level comparing to last year. And then, yeah, they're all higher than previous years. We've had a few things get paid, project side, which one's coming out this time, a little over 90,000 coming out for the water line project, so that'll affect the water fund. But other than that, just the normal movement along the lines. We're still watching the general fund. Got an estimate on what we can spend to keep it at the goal, or end the year on the goal, and I think we can do it.
So all our water line, our street projects are yet to come out of the sales tax funds.
Yes.
Those are, but I noticed that Bloomer had half of Hometown Drive done. And then down here, when they hit the water line,
Yep.
when they were doing that project, they did not call DigSafe.
Right.
It's the contractor's responsibility?
Yes.
Okay, so that was a project. So is there any way we should have caught that? Because we do the locates.
They need to be calling them. We didn't know that they were going to be working on that ADA ramp right there.
When they were going to start that project.
Yes. So they
Because I was thinking they're doing our project.
They're
we should know our-
required. They're required by law. Them, not us. If it was us working on it, yes, we should call. We call our own locates, and we have to call them in even when it's ours. But when it's their responsibility, and they knew it. The foreman walks in and goes, there's no lines here, and I don't even know if it was called. So they knew they did something wrong, and they should be responsible for that.
Yeah, just because the people lost water.
Yes.
That's my concern, is that,
Yeah.
is there some way we should have known internally that the locate wasn't called in?
Nope, we did not.
Because you did not know they were going to start there?
No.
Okay. That was my only concern.
Yep.
You guys have any questions about the financials? I asked Austin to send you that drainage agreement that he sent. I thought maybe we should look at it, we should discuss it.
Throw what the attorney is in there and see what he thought about it, and then bring that back to the council and see what you guys think about it.
Well, I didn't know if, anyway, I thought the city should discuss it a little bit. And I guess do you guys have it that was sent, emailed out? You guys have that drainage agreement? Okay, so the question I had, so the change in 4, where it says, with the exception of disc golf activity, and then no notice is required, is to be given by the city for public disc golf activity. So I guess my question is, in the drainage area, who has priority? So you're saying, so we're saying they have use for it, but, so if they're down there and the disc golf people are, let's say somebody's playing, who has priority?
Aren't they required to have a schedule submitted?
For drain, you said, I don't think so.
It's not in this agreement.
No, this agreement, whenever we're gonna use it, we're supposed to give them 5 days of written notice.
Yeah,
But they don't-
I think what it means is we're not going to tell them every time a disc golfer goes through that drainage ditch.
I know, but who has priority?
School of the disc golfers, basically.
Yeah, and I guess I wasn't clear who did, and I guess it came up on the radio program last week too, did someone ask if they were having a family reunion down in the area by the playground, and they were saying, well, we want to have a badminton and volleyball area there, and so don't have disc golfers play then. And, I mean, so you sit there and think, okay, so the way that the code reads is that,
Here's a copy of it right here. Let Austin read what it says.
is that,
This in yellow, this is the code about the park.
so,
Yeah, I've read this.
so it says that all facilities are supposed to be open and available to the general public, and not, no exclusive right of privilege can be granted on a permanent basis, and reservations can only be on a temporary basis. So I'm just trying to figure out the way this is written, who actually has priority.
Well,
In the
this talks about permanent basis. This means you can't go and put a football field in there and go, that's only for the school right there. You can't make that. That's what that's saying. It doesn't say, yeah, they don't have a permanent football field there.
Okay, but it says use of the fields are subject to use by the city. The city must give reasonable time and notice to USD 360 report prior to the time that said facilities are supposed to be used. So I'm just trying to figure this out, how, if someone, I'm just making this up, but if somebody's playing miniature golf, disc golf, and the football team comes out, who has priority?
Probably the football. I mean, you're giving them the football field. I mean, that's,
So they have first right of refusal, or first,
you set them up with an agreement that says they can go practice on it, right?
so how does a person who's playing golf knows that the school does have first right of refusal to it?
Common sense, when they see the whole team's out there practicing. I would just bet on common sense that they wouldn't try to play through the practice there, I would hope. I'm just sure they're not gonna have a tournament at
So
that time.
So do we need to rewrite the code to say something like that?
There's nothing wrong with this code. There's nothing that it says no exclusive right or privilege may be granted on a permanent basis, permanently to any individual.
Okay, so going back to the family reunion, so the family reunion says, I want to reserve that.
And that's a temporary
Right.
reservation.
But they have just as much right to say, I want to reserve that space right beside it for volleyball.
Right.
We
So-
tell them it's first come, first serve whenever they make reservations. First
So
come,
you
first
put a little
serve.
sign up?
We can put a sign up, but that doesn't mean that somebody can't use it down there. I mean, we can't prohibit somebody from coming in, if they don't know it's reserved, then,
So
if
if
we have a
somebody
sign up
so-
and you go down for your party, we can't kick you out of there. I mean,
I thought we reserved those spaces.
We put up a sign.
Yeah, but-
Yeah.
You put up a sign.
Yeah.
So don't they refer to that sometimes to say, that's my
if
reservation?
somebody's there, then.
Mayor, I've been to several parks, Wamego, Randolph, and they will have a list and the date that, and the party who has the reservation.
Right, and we put up a
We do
sign
too.
that says reserved for such and such party.
Yes, we had one yesterday
Yeah.
Down there?
at City Park for Jackson's birthday.
Yep.
So did you use a space adjacent to it?
We just used the gazebo part, and then they just played in the park. But it was a sign that said reserved for Gina Graham from 2:30 to 3:30.
People are pretty good with that. I mean, we haven't had any problems that I know of.
Okay, so if the people that are gonna play there say, I want to reserve the space adjacent, I mean, they can reserve any area, right? Like the archery people, did they call and reserve the drainage area?
No,
But they probably should.
we can't really put a sign on the drainage area. We just only reserve the shelters, the picnic tables,
You only
Usually.
reserve the picnic tables.
the
That's
shelter
key.
areas.
You only
Where
reserve,
we can put the signs up.
Yeah.
you only reserve that. So even though it says, it doesn't say that, that's what it is in reality.
Or the flea market, or the banks,
Tail.
But you, so you
tailgating.
don't ever reserve an area other than the,
No. No, like campers, when they pull in, it's first come, first serve. So if somebody calls ahead of time and says, are there spots open? You know, we could say, yeah, now, but we don't know what it's gonna be 10 minutes from now, you know?
so,
So the school doesn't have dibs on when they have practice after school to the football field part of it.
I mean, they
They
pretty much
do.
They do.
Yes.
They have a 365-day-a-year agreement to that spot.
To that spot.
so do we have to change this for that?
But not,
What
because
is
school's not in
changes?
session
Number 4.
365 days.
I think that's what the agreement says.
But they only use it basically for 90 days. I mean,
Do they use it in the spring too?
I think, no, they go up to the ball fields.
Give me that piece of paper back, please, thank you.
Can we post a sign saying that if the field is in use for football, then
I mean, that could be
can't
one of the-
play?
Whatever.
One of the rules that is posted at the on the sign that they were talking about at the beginning, the rules? I don't know, just
That could be something.
the rules
sign-
posted at the
I mean,
beginning.
at the very least, on the hole that's in question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have a sign posted that says this
Has
hole may be
this
not be
area
able to
might be-
play.
Might be unavailable due to school usage or something like that? So you think so the school has priority? So-
I would say yes, since we have an agreement made up. Otherwise, it would be, hey, we're just gonna come over here and practice.
And you're just gonna post it? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I would
It'd be a part of the sign.
I would
Yeah.
just say a part of the sign.
Yeah.
Or at the very beginning, when you start, like if the field is in use, obviously, don't play the
This-
holes that might come into question with the field or something, I don't know.
This agreement conflicts with what this code says, though. It says no exclusive right or privilege. And then right in this agreement that we sent to Mullins, it says, with the exception of, there can't be an exception to the code. We gotta rewrite the code if we wanna do this. Because we can't have an exception from one person and not have it for somebody else. Everybody else is entitled to the same exceptions according to this code that nobody has a right to.
So do we just pull it back out and do we put something in that says the school has priority? And
Madam Mayor, I'd really like to see, due to the fact that this went to the school board without us making a motion to do it, let's wait and see what Mr. Mullins comes back with, what the school board says, and then we can talk about what we're gonna do.
yeah, I hope he doesn't think, you made it clear that we have not approved it yet? Yes, that it was just a draft? Okay. So we'll see what they say, and then we'll see what we need to do to 4.
Really, because otherwise we gotta rewrite this code to make this work. Even Mr. Craig will say that, I'm sure.
Well, I
he
guess the
knows.
key thing is based on if they're gonna post this signage on that hole specifically, then they don't have to make that exception,
Pardon?
right? Did I understand it right? There doesn't have to be an exception because the school has priority. So where it says no notice is given for the public golf, that will be pulled out because the school has priority, right? Did I understand what you were gonna do?
I think so. But I think he says that the school shouldn't even have priority.
Nor, oh, you're saying,
Not without a contract, we got a contract with the school.
Okay.
so if we pull that back out, are you okay with it?
Pull what out?
If we pull the red back out, are you okay with it?
And we posted on the sign for the,
If we pull that red out, are you okay with it?
These red
I'd like
words.
I'd like for attorney to say that's what we would do. That's not a decision for anybody to make. We got a code we gotta go by. Just don't go by the code.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
So we will, you want to wait and see what Mr. Mullins comes back with? And then, I guess what we should communicate to Mr. Mullins is that we want the school to have first priority, and we would post a sign, and then we wouldn't have to have it in there and see what he says.
okay.
Right?
That sounds,
Did I get it? Okay, I think we got it. So, rather than waiting to hear back, I think we should be proactive and say, are you guys all in agreement that they have first right, and then will come the disc golf people? And we'll just post it on that hole? Okay. Are we all, okay. So, yeah. So you'll talk to Mr. Mullins. You guys have anything else for the city administrator? Okay, city clerk. The ordinance in the information packet, is that at a point to discuss? Or,
We haven't found the ordinance, the state statutes to tie it to. We were just wanting everybody to know that we're working on it.
okay, do you want a couple of changes? Did you guys read up this ordinance for the incentives that was in the information packet? I had a couple things that I thought we should add to it, and one being in section 4, I thought we needed a sentence at the very end that says improvements within these subdivisions will be determined by the governing body on a case-by-case basis.
Greg didn't like case-by-case basis.
Well, how are we going to identify that the council is going to make the decisions?
He said that if we have an application, that we line out our criteria in the first place, and I think it was, the idea was everything went through David, or whoever.
Well, I guess that was my second section. In section 6, after the first sentence, I thought the zoning administrator will bring the request to the governing body for approval. Once approved, the city administrator will keep proper records. So I thought there should be that step of the city making the decision on the blighted ones, and then we would be the decision makers on a case-by-case basis.
This is how the attorney told us to do it.
Well, don't you think that we should be aware of these transactions? And don't you think we should be the ones that decide whether we should give it in a property that isn't a slam dunk? And that way, because we're giving them up to $5,000, I don't know if you want to not look at those. So I just think that sentence needs to be in there on section 6 to say, the zoning administrator will bring the request to the governing body for, once approved, the zoning administrator will keep the proper records. And that way, we at least know how many we've given out and kind of a ballpark of the amount. Are you okay with that?
I mean, as long
Can't we
as,
check with Craig and see if that would,
yeah, that's what I would say. Send it back to him, because he listed out quite a few things that he felt is good criteria. And so we were just going off of what he was kind of telling us to put together.
Okay. Well, don't you think you want them just brought by us so we actually see them and look at them? Okay. Are you all right with that? So you'll get that
But
to
hand
Craig?
that, can she have that copy?
Yeah.
I'll give it if you want.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so that's that. And, I want to talk just briefly about page 13. And Debbie sent me an email to say on the Public Building Commission, we have $639,000 in there. And what did you tell me was already invested? 323 is already invested.
It's the bond reserve.
And so there's 316 that's not invested, other than at the 0.35%. So, and then she said that 50,000 comes out of it in February. So if you take the 50,000 out, you have 250,000 sitting there for the year. And even if we get the like 2%, we still get about $4,000. I think it's what?
After the last meeting, Craig was kind of hesitant on investing those funds. He said we need to read in to make sure we can actually do it first.
Well, I thought we asked about that. I thought
That was
last
for the
weekend.
bond reserve,
That was-
but I haven't looked at the other.
The bond reserve, but you
That
haven't looked in the other
300,000 is the,
PBC.
right, I haven't looked
But
at the
don't you
other.
think, I mean, even $4,000, we shouldn't waste $4,000 of that $250 sitting there for a whole year. Do you guys agree?
Yes, if it would be legal to do it, I think we
Yeah,
should.
so will you find out if the PBC allows us to do that? So that's what I was thinking, we should go ahead and do 250 and put it in for a year, and at least, if you make $4,000, that's $4,000 we don't have to take from the taxpayer. So, all right, so Debbie will look into that, Debbie. Because was Craig gonna look into that, or
I can look at it and see with him.
the
work with
PBC
him.
document? Speaking of that, somebody asked me, after the meeting, they said, are you guys automatically part of the PBC? We had all these new people, automatically, we don't have to get sworn in on the PBC? Okay. And then I told Debbie, I really like the little boxes here on 13. So we have a total of our total outstanding, both for the water, sewer, and the muni court. Don't you like that? To kind of have an idea? All right, so thank you, Debbie, for doing that. And that is all I have. Oh, one last thing is, I don't know when this was, probably 2 years ago. Darlene, and Todd, when we talked about four-wheelers, and we talked about golf carts, and I'm noticing more and more golf carts coming out to this country club. And at the time, that was before you guys were on council, but it was a 4-4 vote. And I voted no. It was a tie vote, I voted no. Because we were doing the geometric improvement project. And because of that huge construction going on, I felt like crossing 36 was too dangerous. Now we have 36 done, and we have the Clink project done. So all the construction on 36 is basically done. And I've had several people come up to me and complain that we don't allow four-wheelers or golf carts.
I think it's still dangerous.
They're crossing two major intersections.
Yes.
State highways, 77 and 36. I just hate to have somebody's death on my conscience because we allowed it.
I know, but it's amazing how many, you go in these other cities and they all allow them. And so what are we gonna start ticketing the golf carts that are going to the golf course now then? That's my next question.
They should be.
I'm asking you if we're going to, if you're gonna ask the police to enforce that
Where are they driving right now?
to the golf course.
From where?
From the gas station.
Oh, they're going over to the gas station?
No, I see them on
Yeah.
North Street,
Oh, really?
on
Really?
11th Road. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw them up near Park Place. I'm like, so either we need to ticket them or we need to make them legal. Because you have to treat everybody the same.
I think they should be ticketed.
Well, but are we gonna ticket lawnmower? I mean, and I'm guilty of this.
Yes.
I drive 2 blocks over and mow my other property with my lawnmower. And there's not a lot of sidewalks down now. We've got the ADA ramps, so I
Yeah,
can
don't
drive
go-
on sidewalks. I
Somebody
drive on
once-
alleys when I can.
Somebody once told me lawnmowers fall underneath the rubric of agricultural equipment, so that they don't have to follow the same rules.
You believe that to be true?
I don't know, maybe they're supposed to have an orange triangle, safety triangle in the back, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I myself don't have a problem with it as long as they've got, and I don't know if you can even get insurance on a golf board, but I mean,
You can insure anything, there's always an
is there
insurance agent
insurance for
willing to
golf
take your
carts?
money.
I don't know. I mean, I know four-wheelers you can.
I think as long as you have it insured and you have a valid driver's license,
Well-
not somebody,
See, that's the
Yeah.
slip, the
16.
slippery slope. I was the one
Or not,
before did a lot of
14.
research on this and kind of possible proposals, working with the police and fire committee as far as what it would look like to have a way of keeping track and have them checked over, because some of them have turn signals, some of them don't. And you can say they have to be licensed. Well, a lot of towns do 18 and over. Well, of course, there's gonna be a ton of 17 and 16-year-olds. Well, they're a licensed
they're
driver.
licensed.
I think, from the licensing standpoint, you just kind of have to go with if you have a valid driver's
A lot of them
license.
have to have lights, have to have an orange flag, have to have this, have to have that.
They have turn
And then,
signals.
and then if they get an annual sticker, it'd just be a sticker that they could, the PD would slap on, put a little fee on it to cover the costs, the
For the
administration
PD to
costs.
look at it and the
Yeah.
print make of the.
Right.
So,
Hanover and Blue Rapids have them. They have
Waterville.
turn signals, anything a regular vehicle has.
Yeah, Blue Rapids is not having that highway. My question is, are we gonna let them drive on the highway or
No,
just
you
I would just say
cross?
cross.
you can only
Just
cross.
No, they
Cross.
don't in Blue Rapids either. They can cross the highway, but they
They're not
cannot
supposed,
drive
they're
it.
not
on
supposed to.
Well,
I about clipped one last week.
I said they're not supposed
Yeah.
to.
And so
Okay.
what that does is that's gonna push all the golf carts to North Street, which is where some of them
Oh,
are
yeah.
traveling now, which I'm okay with that. Just, we just need to either allow it and make it work for everyone, or we need to enforce not allowing it.
Well, then you go to your, if you do golf carts, and you're gonna have to go to your four-wheelers and your
UTVs.
UTVs
right.
and whatever all the rest of the little fast cars are that they make that's, you know,
To me, we're just, I don't know any town this size who allows it.
yeah, I think.
Yeah.
we're
And the size is one thing and the traffic is another.
Another, yeah.
There is a lot. I mean, you look at the, daytime average traffic volumes for here versus those other towns.
Look when Landals gets off work,
Yeah.
you know, that's a big
And
problem.
it's
Even
A
coming,
car accident can be bad. Somebody gets hit in one of those.
well, look at how they
That's
come
a
down
whole
North
problem.
Street and then jump on 8th Street. You know, somebody, it is what it is, unfortunately. There's a lot of traffic.
But I don't know if, is it more dangerous than a motorcycle? I
Yeah.
mean, if you were in
Yes.
a wreck.
Yes, it is.
Well, I mean, if you get it head-on in a four-wheeler or a motorcycle,
Aren't you
you're
equally?
gone either way.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
there's not really,
but-
there's probably a little bit more
Right.
protection in it.
Well, and then there are towns that do
Some of those.
require safety gear, and that's kind of one of their ways to keep everybody from wanting to do it, is if you have to wear a
mean
helmet
safety
to drive
belts?
your golf
Yeah.
cart, you're
Oh.
not gonna wanna do it.
Well, it looks like we're kind of split again. How about if you did some research on it?
Yeah,
Do you want to bring it to
I can
council
begin.
and go ahead and vote on it?
I'll have to dig it back up, but.
You can think you
I
can find it?
Yeah, I probably can.
I mean, I'm okay with having them make a B license, having them have some kind of tag, and having them have brakes and headlights. Is that right?
Turn
That-
signals.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then,
Street legal, basically.
Street legal, yeah.
Do they have seat belts in them?
some do.
Some
The
do,
UTVs do, right? All UTVs have straight
Unless
seatbelts?
they've removed them.
Well, they don't have seatbelts on golf carts, do they?
No, that's what I'm
I
asking.
don't know.
But that's the thing too, is UTVs, you know, they are a little more safety conscious because they're meant to be going through pastures and kind of sketchy situations, whereas golf carts,
Yeah, there's not much to it.
the roof of a golf cart
Yeah.
will not hold up the golf cart.
Yeah.
It's gonna get four-wheelers.
Well, on the flip side of that, I'd rather have the golf carts be allowed to get to the country club rather than them sneaking around. I mean, anyway. Why don't you draft something up, we'll take a vote, and it's easy enough. Do you mind jigging yours out?
Yeah, I'll see what I can find.
See what we can find, and we'll at least talk about it based on what you bring to the council.
Or check with Hanover and Blue Rapids, both have.
Does Seneca?
ordinances.
Seneca does too, I think.
Seneca does?
I thought, I'm not sure.
Is that okay with you, Todd?
Yeah, I'll look into it.
Okay. All right. We will move on to standing committees. I sent this email to Austin, but on streets, but O'Reilly has an entrance off 36, and at first, they wouldn't let him have an entrance
No,
off 36.
it's only, if you are traveling west, you can exit.
That was
if
always
you-
part of the deal, though?
Yes. If you are going east, you enter through the shared Pizza Hut drive.
That was always how it was set up?
Yes, yes.
I thought
They had to get Kate out of it.
They got
went
an
back and-
exception.
They got
It
an
was
exception,
changed.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
They got the right turn only from the east.
Well, don't you think it's kind of interesting that they got that changed? Because remember when Orchland wanted to move and they were said they definitely couldn't have an exit off 36, and now they changed their mind,
O'Reilly's got better lobbyists.
I guess. Okay. So you guys have anything else for streets?
They plan on pouring Carolina tomorrow?
Tomorrow, 6:30 in the morning.
I think-
And then Friday, they'll pour that first part of Landell,
On 20th Street there.
as long as it all goes good.
Supposed to be dry.
As long as it's dry?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be dry.
They pumped it all out. They said it looked good, it looked better today. And as long as it keeps going like that, they'll be on it on Friday.
How they doing on sealing streets?
Wednesday and Thursday, they hope to finish it out.
Chip and seal? Yes, Terry?
One other thing on streets there, which, there's been a complaint or two about things on the end of Jayhawk there on 16th about the water situation. I think the township and the city better get together and figure out a way they can fix how the water comes down there by Richardson's. That's never gonna be able to be fixed unless they put a tube over to Feldhausen's or fix the road going back north.
It's 16th and Jayhawk.
Yes.
You know what he's talking
Before anything would ever get done about, not pavement, but even if we was talking about that millings or whatever, when that water comes down on 16th, it raises havoc with 16th Street.
On 16th, is it the west side? West
Both
side?
sides.
Both sides of the intersection?
It needs to be
Yeah,
looked
where the
at.
township takes care of it.
Township, that's something
16th,
that you guys need to work out together. And then also, Austin got them busy and they fixed where this place was where somebody could go off where it washed here on 8th Street. But 8th Street needs something done about it seriously before somebody gets hurt up there. Besides that, we need to look at 8th Street.
Wait, are you talking about Behrens's email?
Well, no, she called about that. She thought they were up there trying to fix something and they were
8th
just
Street?
patching a wet spot, I think.
8th Street?
Well, no, 8th and Jayhawk.
Jayhawk?
But that's a future thing, I understand, but 8th Street's serious about somebody getting hurt if we don't look at maybe taking care of the traffic that's going up to the dead end there.
So you know what he's referencing on 8th Street that he wants you to do?
We went out and fixed the issues today. He thinks that we should look at
Yeah,
it.
they put some rock and stuff and fixed that so somebody
is
isn't gonna
fixed?
tip over. But it's still not very safe for vehicles.
Well, I got an email from Behrens's and they said that the rock that we put down is more like mud. They wanted better rock there?
After 8 or 9 inches of rain and everything,
Everything was mud.
we're lucky to have gravel roads anymore.
That was a 500-year flood, they said.
Yeah.
Rainfall. So, I mean,
But yeah, we went out there and patched them while it was a little wet, and then we went back after it kind of dried out and finished it off. But I think he says look for future improvements in 8th Street.
Okay. And the other thing, on this vacating 45 feet of right-of-way at the end of the dead-end street, do you know what that's talking about? The highlights?
Debbie, I talked to a
Debbie, do you
property
know?
owner about vacating. Where's that at?
Do you know where that's at?
Give me a second to get into my
that
catalog.
is that Kevin Cromie's down there?
No,
It says vacating
oh my gosh.
44
That was
feet.
up over by the school. That is Leon Wassenberg. Up over there by the hill.
Is that up on the hill? Yeah, Leon used to own that. It's Ham's on the one side and then Leon's on the other. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
he's gonna go talk to the school to see what they wanna do with that and come back maybe.
So that's where it is, up there? It's like a dead end, like?
Yeah, it's kind of like
what
the street
would
just
that be?
ends and then, well, Wassenberg's right here and then there's a lot next to Wassenberg's, I think, and then it's basically the hill. I mean,
Is that right up above the football field?
yeah, it's
I know
basically the
where
hill
it
there.
is.
So he
West,
wants to
excuse me.
vacate the hill?
Yeah, but
Vacate?
we don't own that, so,
Okay.
well, the school owns part of it, so he was gonna go talk to the school to see if they have interest in it, and then come back.
Okay. I just couldn't figure out where that was.
Mayor, and the stoplight, the motion light there,
It's not working right, is it?
no, it's not.
We're working on it.
Oh, you knew that?
Yep. Yeah, I noticed it on Sunday, and then a few other people noticed it, but he had to call in,
That's at 14th, right?
14th
Yes.
Center. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we're working on
The
that.
timer, or the
The-
motion sensor wasn't
Yeah,
working.
yeah.
It was being overly,
It is working, but not.
Too much
appropriate-
working.
Not appropriately.
yeah. You guys have anything else on the street? Water and sewer. The only thing I thought we should talk about is, I know this got really sensitive, and I want to make sure that we understand what exactly I think we need to go back and talk about. But it's the storm water, not a tax, not a fee, not an assessment, but the ordinance. So when people are building buildings, we have an ordinance in place that they have to comply with. The last time the planning commission looked at it, there were some things that weren't quite adequate in there. And all we want to do is address stormwater when they're developing property. Not taxing anybody, I want to make that perfectly clear, or not a fee, just to work on our ordinance for compliance. Are you guys okay that we go back and look at that and get it corrected? I just want to get it done before someone else goes to build a big project and we haven't addressed stormwater completely. So I want to go ahead and have a committee meeting on that. Didn't we have a ad hoc stormwater committee? So I think we need to get back and, anybody remember where we were in that? We met way in the spring.
We only had one meeting.
We had one meeting. Do you remember where we were with it?
No, we were just starting to throw out ideas.
Okay. So I think we have to have another meeting, and we need to get that ordinance fixed. So when the planning commission uses it, it's appropriate, okay? So we'll set up a meeting, do you mind doing that? And that's all I had for water and sewer. Parks and Rec, you guys have anything? Cemetery and airport? So I was at the...
Airport.
Okay.
Gary got a hold of me, Helen, and he had made a donation, and he was wondering when the work was going to be done, start at Austin, with the money he gave for the donation.
We have to,
We're waiting for FAA for next year.
we scheduled it for 2020, or not 2020, but for next year. Let's see.
2019.
Well, it's fiscal year 2020 for FAA,
Okay.
but 2019 for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, well, there's a chance that we could get money that we don't have to match anything. They approved that. Right now, our engineers are working on basically a grant application. Olson and Associates is working on an application.
There's unused monies again?
No,
Is that what
not
it is?
unused monies. Congress recently approved what they're calling red money to improve rural airports.
Is it still 90% funding?
It's 100%.
100%?
100%.
Oh, well, then file the grant, for sure. So at Boss Nationals, I was sitting beside a guy from Dallas that flew in to our airport, and I was like, wasn't our airport nice? And was talking to him. He goes, yeah, but you don't have any tie downs. I said, what do you mean we don't have tie downs? And he said, well, you don't have tie downs. I said, I haven't walked out there, but you mean to tell me we don't have tie downs? So I went out there and walked, and we have
Yeah, we do.
holes,
Yes.
but we don't have the straps. Aren't they supposed to have them in the
No.
airplane?
The airplane's supposed to have those.
Yeah.
We have the eye hooks.
We had the eye hook, so I was sitting there
Yeah.
going, at first I was like, I can't believe we designed it without this. But then he also said that we really should have a fueling station. And I'm just gonna tell you what his comment was. His comment was, when airplanes fly, if you can be a cheaper than the other airports, like 2 or 3 cents even, which blows my mind for these $1 million airplanes. But anyway, if you're just a little bit cheaper, you'll get a lot more plane activity. People will stop at your airport because you have a fueling station.
I mean, that's in the plans. It's just once we build that, we have a 5-year moratorium on, I think it's a 5-year moratorium on discretionary funds.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, if we put in something that's money-making, with the funds they provide, they put a moratorium on some of
Well,
the
then I
other
guess we
funds.
don't want to pursue it. He told me specifically we have to have a drive-through fueling station, but, so we'll wait if we're going to lose
No, yeah,
discretion.
it's in our block of things to do, it's just not a high priority.
Well, it's good to hear from another pilot. We really should do it, because I remember Vicki was always adamant, Vicki Gross was always adamant we need to have a fueling station. Remember that, or not? You remember that?
We
Okay.
used to have, didn't we?
Well, I know my father-in-law used to have a tank that he would sell fuel, but I think the fuel can go bad. I mean, you'd have to have a big demand.
And that was the other question, whether we get the demand.
Yeah.
Because Beatrice has one, that's not that far away.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird because he said if you're just a couple cents cheaper, people will stop at your
I think
airport.
Washington County used to, and they lost money on it because the fuel went bad, small airport. I'm not sure that there weren't another one or two that were kind of in the same situation. You really do have to make sure there's demand.
The Littler plans could probably taxi over to Casey's.
There you go.
You know where Orlando gets their fuel at?
They have their own truck.
They have a truck parked up here at Kramer Fields.
Kramer fills in.
And that's why they got a hold of Don to get fuel.
Okay.
And that's when he said, you really need to have fuel, so. Okay, that's all I had for that. I'm glad we have tie downs. Police and fire.
It was, Mayor, it was nice to see, I think on Friday afternoon, there were 2 officers walking up and down the streets where the cars were. And then on Saturday, again, one of the officers was walking up and down the street.
Well, you know what I saw them doing? When I walked to my car at 9:30, they were going to the businesses and checking the doors.
Good.
That's
And they should.
great.
Yeah.
They had flashlights and you could tell they were, and I was like, that is great, they're checking the doors, so that was nice.
I'd like to give them a big thank you too for their work and stuff, the hours they put in on the Labor Day with the flooding and all that.
Oh, with the flooding, yeah. And the fire truck that is being repaired, the 1,000-gallon tanker?
Yep.
Do we have another one of those?
We have other tankers, yes.
We have other tankers,
Yes.
okay. So, yes. All right, admin and finance.
Yes, I have a report. Our committee met last week, and if you want to look at page 45, we had put extra money in the budget for swimming pool raises. And what our committee proposed was, for next year, was to put the first year per hour wage at 8, and then we go up 8.50, 9.50 for second, third, fourth year. We propose that for the new lifeguard, that we pay 100% of the certification, in hopes that we would encourage some people who would like to be lifeguards, but, out of pocket, that's a lot of money. And we would require them to sign an agreement that they would work until the end of the pool season.
And work for the city before we pay the research.
Oh, yes,
We wanted to make sure that, I know it's not really a
Yes.
binding, but just something to say, we intend to work for the city after we pay for their certification.
And then,
Is that gonna be for 2 years, Darlene?
yes,
Is that certification's good for 2 years?
yes. And then the third year, we would pay 100% of the recertification. Then also we propose that, and maybe even have a signed statement to this effect too, that if the lifeguards work until the end of the season, they'll be paid $50 bonus. And all bonuses would be contingent on being in good standing as well as staying through the season. And the assistant, we're suggesting $11 an hour, a manager $14. Now, we really hadn't talked about the assistant getting the $50 bonus that's listed there. That wasn't really, that got typed in there.
I would think if you're gonna do all the normal lifeguards, that you'd also include that one. Now, the manager is a different, something different, and that would be my recommendation, how that's set up right there.
Did you ever find out if the certs for 200 or 250? Did you have to look
I
that
haven't
up?
found, they haven't listed any classes yet, so they're not telling me how much it is.
And then looking at concessions for 2019, leaving the per hour as it is now, starting with minimum wage 7.25, raising it 1/4 for each year of experience, and at the end of the year, paying a $25 bonus at the end of the swimming season paying. So what do you all think about those proposals?
So we looked at the certifications, if we have to pay for all, ideally, it'd be nice to have 20 guards. If we have to pay for all the certifications at once, it costs $5,000.
We need to keep the guards for 2 years, though.
Yeah,
We're
can you
paying
pay
100%.
the 50,
And
pay
they-
50/50 or 75/25 or
Guards either.
I'm not saying, but I'd
one
like to
first
pay.
and second year?
So,
We thought we would propose this, see how it goes. for
My point is, I'd hate to
2019.
pay $250 for a guard on certification, and they're gonna work one season, and you paid the full $250.
Well, then they need to,
You need to make sure you have them for 2 seasons, what their
Yeah,
certification
you can
is
sign
good
for
for.
2.
Well, but what if their first year is their senior year? Or what if they move, I mean, they could move for that. I would be fine with as long as they agree to work through that season.
I think the thing to do would be to encourage longevity in general by staggering the bonus up. So the bonus gets bigger year over year, if it's 40, 50, 60, or something like that, to
oh, that's
encourage
interesting.
longevity.
That's a good idea.
Or take your certification and pay it 50% each year.
Well, one of them that I can't remember which one I talked to, they reimbursed you half at the end of the first year.
Yeah.
And then if you came back at the start of the second year, they gave you
The
the
other
second
half.
half.
Oh, my thought was,
But
there
then-
may be some kids that would really like to be lifeguards.
Yeah, and
they
that's the thing,
just
because
do
the
not
parents are gonna have to
the
pay
money.
for it, and sometimes the parents can't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to do that too.
Well, I guess if we did 75% and 25%, we only risk the 25%.
I still would like to see 100%. We can try it 1 year.
Yeah.
See, I'm looking at your report.
notes.
Your report
I can't
said,
remember which one was it that paid.
so Washington paid half and half, first year, second year. Beatrice had their own, so they only had the certs. Frankfurt paid half and half. Waterville, Pool pays them back. I don't think you said which year.
Yeah, that might have been one I forgot to ask
Oh,
specifically.
but Blue Rapids said the same thing, pays them back. You think that meant
I
that
think
current year?
that they paid them back at the beginning, basically reimbursed them at the beginning. I think there were a couple of them that just reimbursed them right away.
They paid lifeguards back. You put that on Seneca, Blue Rapids, and Waterville, so that
It must have
meant,
been those 3 then, or they didn't specifically tell me. Usually when I would ask them about that, if they didn't pay till the end of the season, they would chime right in and say, we pay them back at the end of the season, or,
so you think they pay them back at the beginning of the season?
I
Or
think that's how they did it.
But it makes it sound like the lifeguard pays and then the city reimburses it.
Well, I think they probably did, because they probably went somewhere else to get their certification.
And that's how we would probably do it,
And
is,
that's the way we have.
But then we
they'd
still have
bring a
the issue,
receipt, they'd bring a
but then we
receipt.
still have the issue where they get to 250 to begin with.
What do you mean?
We're just trying to think of people that don't have the 250 to begin
Yes,
with.
yes.
Can we bring in somebody and certify them here and just pay the for the
Austin,
person?
we said that, and
That would
Austin
be
said it would be.
ideal.
Austin said
It'd
it
probably
would
be
be.
cheaper for us.
They charge the same, the only way you get out of it is you
Right,
have
yeah.
you have somebody who can train, like Maria. Maria was trained to train lifeguards, and so that's how we kept the cost down. She could certify people in Red Cross lifeguard
Well,
Can
last
we
year
get
you brought
someone-
somebody in too, didn't
for
you?
WSI,
Oh, is that what it's for? Well,
and that was just for our managers.
Beatrice has someone, right? Could we hire them to come down and do it? I don't know, I'm just
It's
throwing
possibility.
it out there.
It's
Because if it's about $5,000 to,
We figured that was a maximum cost, 20 guards, full cert cost.
because then it wouldn't cost the city, I mean, maybe it would, but maybe it would be cheaper
Maybe.
to have someone come in and certify. Just throwing
It's
it out there.
possibility,
Don't know.
yeah. It's worth asking.
Because then you wouldn't have the cost associated with if someone couldn't pay the $250 up front, they could just come and get certified if they had signed up to be agree to be a lifeguard.
What if they don't pass? We had that, and we paid for it. It's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
As much trouble as we have to.
So maybe that's
We're gonna have
why.
to do something, as many as we need.
Oh, I
That's
understand.
half the trouble.
So maybe that's why they say they pay them back. That could be why that says pay them back on what you wrote, because after they pass, they pay them
Well,
back.
I'm sure they'd have to pass in somewhere or another, yeah.
I'm just guessing what your
We
note.
had a couple not.
Not
I mean, these
passed.
other pools didn't need as many people, so it doesn't, we need a lot of people, that's our problem.
I know,
And
20.
I think we will get more, if we are at least offering a reimbursement. I think that'll trigger some people more people to apply. If they knew they weren't just losing that 200 and whatever dollars, right off the bat and not getting it back, I think we'd get more people.
So is there some way we can make it that in case it's a financial hardship to come
And apply
and
for
discuss
a
it with us?
I don't
application.
really like that because
But somebody might be,
Complicated.
Yeah, that would be it.
It's not fair to the kids. I think we have to be fair to everybody. If we're gonna pay it for one, we need to pay it for
For all.
everybody, so,
you mean once they pass?
yes.
I have a suggestion.
Well, I was just making that if they didn't have the 250 up front to come talk to the
Oh,
city,
I see what you're saying.
that we could fund it if they needed it funded,
To-
knowing they would reimburse it if they fail. I mean, I'm just trying to,
I see what you're saying. If they fail, they surely don't have to pay, do they?
I'm sure they
Oh,
do.
yeah.
you pay.
Yep.
It's any
Oh, really?
exam. If you
Yeah.
fail, you still have to pay for it.
I see. Okay. You don't get a
Well-
second chance.
Well, these people
have to
that
repay.
pay half at the first year and half at the second, you're more likely to get them back.
Yeah.
But like. she
They have to
said,
come
get
up with
back
the
to
money.
If they can't afford it, then,
Yeah,
in my opinion, if we're wanting to get a lot of people to apply, if we want to get a lot of lifeguards, we ought to just reimburse them right off the bat. And we will probably have some that won't make it through the summer and want to eat that, but I think it will help. as
So are
far
you
as getting
saying
more people to
reimburse
take the
it
classes.
once they pass?
Well,
I
Yeah.
hate
I
to
don't
even
know.
say
Yeah,
that.
that's the thing, because then they still got to come up with that money up front.
Yeah,
Now, I'm wondering if couldn't kind of work this like a payroll deduction type thing where we're gonna pay for it, but they're gonna pay for it out of their wages. And it all works out good at the end of the year, we're all happy with them, we'll give them the money back. But we make it like it's a payroll deduction, that they're gonna pay for their own deal, but let them take it out weekly or monthly or however you pay them.
if we were an adult, I would say that would be a good way to go, but, we're talking about 15,
Kids.
16-year-old kids.
I understand that too.
And then if they don't pass, what are you gonna do, Terry?
Well, if they quit.
Or
too,
quit,
Then you're back to not.
Well, they paid their part and they don't get it back, and that's it. I think they'll pass. I don't know. Just a thought.
If they don't pass, they're banned from the pool. Just
No. No, if they, if they have to take it again, so it'd be $500 out of their pocket, do you pay the 500?
I
No,
think you would
I'd
only
say if
pay
they,
the
if they
first.
fail it, then that'd be on them.
That's on them.
Yeah.
Because if you're paying it back 100%, I just didn't know. I would,
If we want to pay the 100% certification, why can't we have them sign something for 2 seasons? And we're gonna have to understand if there's hardship, if they have to end up moving, if there's, something happens. That way we have them and we can expect the amount
We
of
can
people.
expect, yeah.
Yeah,
They're not able to, unless they're 18, they're not old enough to sign a contract,
Oh.
but they can sign a statement of agreement.
yeah. Or the parents, I don't know, parents, make the parents responsible for it.
I don't think we can do that either.
I mean, that's probably, if you really want to keep them and know how many you're gonna have.
Even though it's a non-binding contract, we can have them sign for 2 years.
Yes.
And just, it's a place to start. If it fails the first year, we pay for certifications, people don't pass, people don't stay for the second year, it's a learning experience, and we'll try to revise it next year. What do you guys think?
I still, are you talking about paying up front, like paying and not reimbursing after they pass their lifeguard?
Yeah, well, that's the big thing. Do you want them to make sure they pass to reimburse the $250? Yes? Yes?
I think,
unless you pay for it, and if they fail, then it's on them to pay for the next one if they want to.
yeah, if they do a
I
second one. they
I think we just have to pay for it, and hopefully they pass. If they're a senior, they're not maybe going to come back anyway, so we're not going to get them back the senior, their second year. So if they're a senior and we want them, we're only going to get 1 year anyway, so.
So we're gonna pay and assign 2 years.
And if we could have the manager hired at an earlier date, maybe the manager could review with the applicants and kind of maybe weed out if it looks like there might be somebody that wouldn't be able to pass.
That's not fair to put
I
that
don't know
on
if she'd know
somebody.
that, she or he would know that, but
I don't know.
it's in April that they do it, right? The certs?
Yeah, well, I think that's the main ones they do in April, they do in May. I don't know if they go any earlier than April. And we probably couldn't determine on whether to hire somebody based on their physical
Based on whether we...
fitness or anything like that.
Well, I just
We couldn't make that
wondered
judgment, that's why we have the
what swimming
certification.
experience they've had,
Right.
not their,
You couldn't, I don't think you could do that. That's why
That'd be
they get the certificate,
discrimination.
that they have a certified person test them, and we're not the ones determining whether they can do it or not. They've proved that they can do it.
So
Well,
city
that would be
pays,
back to,
sign
do
2
we
years.
have to, sorry to interrupt, do we have, if we had someone come in and do it, do you still have to pay for each person the $250? Is it
I
like
think it
a,
goes to the Red Cross. So all it would do is add to the cost for us, actually.
got
and
it?
that might make it easier if we could have someone come in, because there might be some who might not have transportation to Beatrice.
But I think most of the guards know who's, they travel together, take the certs together. Since it's just Beatrice, if they had to go farther than Beatrice, but it's just Beatrice. I do like the idea of increase in bonus per year, though. I think that's kind of a wise thing to do. How do you guys feel about that?
So what would you start with?
Depends on how high you want to go to, I guess. You could do 40, 60, 80, and 100 on the 4th year, something like that.
What does everybody think about that?
Or we could go 40, 50, 60, 70,
I think $10 a year.
80 to the last for the assistant? Is that too high?
I don't think $50 is all that huge of a bonus even to kids these days.
I'd say 50, 60, 70, 80. Just go.
Oh, from there up.
every 10.
At least that way they see an increase year over year.
Is that what everybody thinks? 50,
50, 60,
60, 70, 80?
And then I'd still recommend giving the assistant a bonus and correlate that to whatever year they're in.
Giving it
I think
90.
the same as
So do we give our
lifeguards.
manager a bonus?
I wouldn't do that. I mean,
We want them to come back.
I know we.
Yeah, you'd want them to come back.
Yeah. I mean, but
They're gonna work to the end of the year anyway.
we're paying
Yeah.
for all their certification, the managers, to get them up and running. I mean, if you want to give the manager a bonus, that's.
I don't really think we should.
And then what about, you want to keep the bonuses at 25 for concessions? Probably, because it's not a big.
People want to work in concessions.
Okay,
We found that.
and so there's some people that Austin and I, at the committee, we talked about, some of the people that work in concessions are also lifeguards, which is beneficial to our pool. So they'll just be paid the lifeguard rate, whether they're in concessions or, okay, that was what we said. So we can print, you want to bring something nice and clean for us to approve next time?
Okay. And are we reimbursing? Just go back over that.
City pays up front.
Okay.
Yes.
So, once they sign that little piece of paper that they're gonna work 2 years. You can write that up for us too.
Okay, what are you gonna do if they're a senior and they're not planning and they're going to school? If they're a senior in high school, are they gonna come back for 2 years?
They
We can
could.
always hope.
They could.
Okay.
We have some
All right.
people come back
But we're
after
not gonna-
college.
Okay, but if they're not willing to sign that they're coming back for 2 years, then we're not.
Well, they're
then we
also-
don't-
Well, it would be one more year, because if they work their senior year, then possibly the following year,
Okay,
that would be their
We've had
second
calls.
year.
okay, so, but they're not willing to sign for 2 years, then we don't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only way that's the only way I would say.
Okay.
So you'll bring us back something to officially approve on that? I have one quick question for you. You guys, when you received this in the packet, did you believe that was policy, or did you believe that the manager had talked to Austin and we were approving year by year?
What's that you're looking
This
at?
is our list of, in May, when we had our salaries for the pool. What did you believe that was? I believed it was the manager speaking with Austin, determining what the wages would be each year. What did you guys believe?
I
And
knew
that's-
the policy.
You thought it was policy? What did you believe? You guys?
I believed it was what Austin and the
It was set,
manager
yeah.
had presented.
The years correlate with their pay, and that's what was set back in 2013.
Well, so
But we
this,
were not told that.
see, the key thing to me, I always thought this was a discussion between the manager and Austin, and this is what they proposed each year. And when we approved this back in 2013, it wasn't an amendment to the swimming pool manual, it was just, this was the list that was in the agenda packet.
But the wage scale, just like our full-time, part-time wage scale is not in our personnel manual. It's a separate document. Just like when I bring a part-time or a full-time individual, that pay is based on the wage scale that was set by the city council. In fact, the last wage scale before the one we determined was back in 2011. That's what we based all our pay off of. So that is exactly how we treated that one. That was set in 2013, starting January 2014. So that's how we based all our pay off of.
So I believe this was a year-by-year decision. I thought each year they got together, decided what the salaries would be, decided they were adequate, and presented it to council.
That's what I thought too. I
So,
knew nothing about that 2013.
yeah, so, and most of us were new. So anyway, I just want to, going forward, I think what our intention, this is my intention, is that when we have this, we approve this, that each year it's reviewed to determine what is appropriate for next year at the pool. That's how I think we should present it. Okay? Because I think it should be a discussion every year well, how did it go? Do we need to increase the rates? If so, how much? I think that has to be a discussion we have every year.
We can have that discussion, but when it comes out that we don't need to change anything, we're gonna go back to the
Well,
wage
then
scale.
that's right, we'll present it, we'll start with this and say, do you feel we need to change it?
Then it doesn't turn, then it's not a manager, administrator conversation, it's a
Well, okay.
administrator council.
So I would assume that they would take this, and the manager and the city administrator would tell us if we need to change this. And if so, otherwise present their wages and would say, these wages we feel are adequate. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, it used to be it was 7, whatever minimum wage was, plus the number of years you were there years ago.
But I never understood that there wasn't a discussion. So I thought there was a discussion. Anyway, there just needs to be a discussion for the manager and Austin to make sure it's adequate. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay? So before you present it to us, longevity one.
Okay, longevity. Okay, currently, the way longevity is handled is that employees who have passed their fourth through their seventh anniversaries get 5 cents an hour increase. So that works out to about $104 a year. 8 to 13, 4 cents, and that's $83.20 a year. 14th and over, 3 cents per hour increase, and that works out to $62.40. Okay, the committee, what we are proposing, and it's not quite right what's down here on our sheet. What we proposed was for 2019 is for the second year, and instead of doing this per hour, we'd like to do a lump sum on the anniversary date. Because when you just add cents, you can't really tell.
When you spread that $62 over the whole year,
And
it
so,
was a blip.
what we're proposing is, at the second anniversary, it would be $50. At the third anniversary, $75. And then the other figures aren't right on then years 4 through 7, $150. Years 8 through 13, $175. 14 through 19, $200. And then the last one is correct, 20th and over, $225.
And this is just for the pool, someone that works at the pool for
No,
over
this
20
is
years?
for our full-time employees,
Oh.
our city staff.
Yeah, it's
I
full-time.
thought we were
It's
still
not
at
seasonal,
pool.
right? Austin?
Right.
Not part-time, just full-time.
It's just full-time.
And this excludes cost of living raises, and it excludes their reviews and their performance evaluations.
This
is just
tells them that we
Appreciate.
appreciate them, we
Okay.
appreciate the years that they are working for the city.
Because when you think about it, we give them that $50 at Christmas, or we have in the past, and then their whole raise was about just a little bit more than that amount, that Christmas gift. So we just thought if you give them a check for $150, it was more beneficial than.
Of course, the downside is we would have to take the taxes and all of that out, so it wouldn't be the
Yeah.
full amount.
That
but-
was one of the downsides we were talking about after this meeting. Staff was
But the
talking.
amount is so much greater than what they have been getting.
Well, yes, and I
Much
agree with that. But one of the challenges might be that, you're giving a $150 check.
You could.
But that raises that one person above whatever tax bracket for that certain time, so then they automatically get a huge chunk taken out of it. Rather than if you were to spread this 150 out over the year via a cent they wouldn't be as highly impacted in their taxes, at least up front.
And that's
as they
only
would.
upfront
And
because
that's, yeah. And if
I
you,
do taxes and it's not gonna make a difference.
not
Not
every-
one
but
bit.
not everybody knows
And the end of
taxes.
month.
It's
Not
identical.
everybody knows taxes. I mean, I do my taxes. I don't know how anybody else does their own taxes. As far as,
Well, we just thought it'd be nice to hand them a check for, even if the 150 becomes $100 after taxes.
It's still,
Or, the guys that have been here 20 years, you're gonna give them a check for like $180.
and it's much more than what we have been giving them.
which, yeah, no, and there's no argument against that. It's just, that was one of the downsides we talked about.
And,
We have to do a special payroll every time we have an anniversary day?
We do it on their anniversary.
Otherwise, we have to add it to their paycheck. We can't really do a special payroll every time we have somebody.
Just add it to their paycheck.
You just add it to your
We just
Just
check.
add
add
it to the-
paycheck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, you're
Just
saying you're
lump
gonna
it in.
have a check, but I can't do that.
Lump it into their paycheck. So that month, their or pay period, their check would be 150 more than what it was any other time of the year.
Yeah, that'd be the.
So would we, since most of them are direct deposits, right? So I guess when, on their anniversary day, maybe just say, it's in it's in your direct deposit, happy anniversary, I don't know.
I'll get you one of those big checks, Carla, and you can come in. Here you go. You gotta bring that back, that's just dry erase.
So what do you think?
Can you write a separate check? No.
So how would we kind of make a special note that this is different than your other payroll checks and it's your anniversary bonus? How would we do that?
They already get a letter.
Oh, they get a letter?
Yeah.
They get a letter that says you get this much. Every year when you get your longevity pay, it says you have worked here this many years and you will now get this many cents more per hour.
Oh,
So they
So
already,
you
they
just
already know.
Send it back.
so you just send them a
Believe me,
letter?
if we forget, they tell us.
So we'll just send them a letter and say,
Send them a letter,
this,
yeah.
thank you for,
Yes. Yeah.
so how do you guys feel about that?
Why didn't the print on here then? Why didn't we get this proposal?
I was going off of memory, I was, because,
Oh.
yeah, I was
Say.
trying to remember what was going on, because I asked Darlene if she was gonna write something up, and she said, yeah.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I
But
thought
I
you meant
didn't
bring it
know-
to the meeting. I didn't know you meant for the agenda packet. I'm sorry, I missed that too.
I was like, are you gonna write something up, Darlene? She said, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I missed that, yeah, I thought it meant for tonight. I was with you,
too.
so. But anyway, how do you guys feel?
I think it's a good idea. Everybody likes to be appreciated. I mean, an attaboy's good,
Yep.
but a little more cash in your pocket is a better attaboy.
So, somebody want to make the motion to accept the longevity bonuses
How do
as?
the employees feel about it? As far as, would they rather have a few more cents per hour? Or would they rather have a just bulk sum but then get nailed on
There's
taxes? Or
some one way, some the other. I could see people wanting that extra boost, seeing that extra boost, but they also know that it builds over time. Right now, you get 5 cents for 4 to 7th, and if they happen to get some overtime, that's 6 cents, or not 6 cents, 7 or 8 cents on top of their hourly wage. So they'll see it one way, and they'll see. If they get the money, I think they'll be happy. Not that that's all they're out for, but I think it should be fine. Either way, it's just that was the only problem I had was that one thing I brought up.
I make a motion, we approve the proposal one longevity pay
As amended?
as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any other discussion?
With the idea that all their current longevity stays, actually, we'd probably add it into their so we could get rid of the extra line and just add in their longevity that they already earned into their current salary. Because right now
At the
it's a
end of the
separate-
year.
at the
This
end-
is going to start anniversary date
Anniversary,
2019.
2019.
I guess you should make that motion
Yeah.
On the
to
back.
begin
Where?
anniversary date on 2019. Yes?
On
That's your motion?
2019. Anniversary date on 2019.
Your second?
Second, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Opposed? 8-0, all right. Any other admin and finance? And the next one is a wage determination. And my only question to Austin, I didn't ask a question, has she already worked?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, it's just, she was needed for like 2 days, and we could not get a hold of Sherry at all. And that is what it was, we needed somebody in that seat to take control, and that was pretty much what it was. I don't think Sherry's not working anymore, it's just, we couldn't get a hold of her. And-
So this is just like a kind of a one-time,
And we might keep her on the line, just in case another situation like this happens. Sherry's our go-to person to fill in. It just, the necessity of it came about and needed somebody to be there.
So my only question, I asked Austin what the range for, because Sherry makes $12.30 an hour, but she's been here for several years, so I asked what the beginning rate for range 4 was, and he said $11.24. And don't we usually hire people in first time at the low end of their range?
Typically, yeah. But I think this was, hey, what's Sherry making? Let's put that on there just as a, because I think we've done that for, I don't know what we've done, but that's where it
that
came.
just really doesn't seem
If we put,
right to do it
if we
that
bring
way.
our police officers in at the low end of the range, I'm just throwing this as an example.
This was just an oddball because we needed her for like 2 days, and that was the whole thing.
So she was already paid this for something?
She hasn't been paid.
Well, but it was something that was like she's already worked it.
She's worked it, yeah.
Okay.
And have you discussed salary?
I haven't discussed anything. This was came from Todd, and
Well, I just think it's setting a different precedent than we do at our other employees that we hire.
what did I say? 11 something.
You said 11.24 was the beginning
11.24.
rate.
That's not terrible difference.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but I think we need to do what we do with other employees rather than to jump them in equal to another employee.
So too.
Are you okay if we make it 11.24?
I think it's fair.
Okay. So do you guys want to make a motion on this wage determination to make it at 11.24?
Is this whole thing the regular procedure, or how you just get somebody to come in and work? I'm just curious.
It's in our policy handbook. It says that I'm allowed to hire and then notify the council. And this was, we were so far into, we didn't know about what was going on at the prior council meeting. Ruth had a scheduled out few days.
But you knew about beforehand,
Right, and we couldn't get a hold of Sherry.
and we didn't have anybody else.
There's
I
only
thought
one.
it was nice that her daughter could fill in for her, but on the other hand, I felt bad. I worried, called about, when it says she's gonna be gone for an extended period, I called because I thought there was a sickness or something.
I just didn't
And they
go
said,
into.
oh, she'll be back in Tuesday, is what he told me. So,
Yeah, it's just, it was a period that she was just out. And-
there's 2 days we couldn't do without somebody.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, that's just what it came down to.
I'm looking for a motion, you guys.
Sorry, move to approve Heather Mashmeyer, Police Secretary, part-time, $11.24 an hour.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Opposed? All right. I don't know of a reason for an executive session. So roundtable. I assume you're going to talk about Boss Nationals.
Oh, yes.
So I will let Darlene Boss talk about Boss Nationals. And I assume you're going to talk about the Gravel Dash?
I wasn't planning on it, but if you insist.
So I will just say that they were both great events from my perspective. And the only thing I have on roundtable then is, I just want to say that Darlene gives me all these articles. She reads all these newspapers, gives me these articles that are related to the city, highlights what's related to the city about all, and just to see how we handle things like other cities. And I finally decided, she's been doing this for several years, and I said, you guys need to have these available too, so you understand what other cities are doing. So if it's all right with you, I'm going to go ahead and put these in a folder up on the desk. I have a mayor folder, I was gonna have a city council folder, and just put these in, and just so you can read them, and you might initial the top, so you've looked at them already, but just to keep them in there, and every once in a while we'll toss them. But it just gives you an opportunity to see what other cities are doing governmentally, but thanks to Darlene. So thank you for your research, Darlene,
You're welcome.
and we will all get wiser because of it. With that being said, Darlene, would you like to share about Boss Nationals?
Yes, and first, on behalf of Boss Motors, Boss Motors was the host of the Boss Mustang Nationals. I'd like a big thank you to the city employees and the staff and the community for all the work they did, all the welcoming. We had tremendous compliments from the participants on how nice, how warm, what a good reception the city gave everybody. Usually, the Boss Nationals are held in a major city, so this was quite a change.
And an honor.
Yes, an honor. They spent many dollars on food and lodging and probably beer, even copies of the Marysville Advocate. And there were requests that they want to be sure and get this week's Marysville Advocate. The only request I had of an issue was there was toilet paper missing on one of it had already been used in one of the Johnny on the spots. Also, we need a sign on the door of Travel and Tourism Building that says that there's a public restroom there.
That's probably a good idea.
That'd be great to have that. Greg told me this, my brother-in-law, approximately 185 vehicles, 24 429s, if you know what that is, 25 351s, 15 of single overhead cam, and I can't point those out to you. And there were many 302s, both new ones and the older ones. 3 cars came from Canada. They came from both coasts, Canada, and 6 hours into Canada, all the way to Texas, so the entire United States. One couple was from New Zealand, did not bring the car. One gentleman is from Australia, he lives in Phoenix also. I said at the banquet, there was a gentleman, he was from London, and I didn't really realize until it was over, this was a really big deal.
It was a big deal.
Millions and millions and millions of dollars of cars were here. And there are 2 still on Boss Motors floor, showroom floor. One of them is worth $700,000. It was found in a barn, and it's original. One downer is my niece, Michelle. She and her husband were working on all of the pre-registration and all that, and doing a lot of the computer work. On Wednesday, she was in Walmart in Topeka, getting ready to come, and she slipped, I guess it was wet, and broke her femur. This is probably her, she has brittle bone disease, and it's probably the, I think, 36th or 37th break. But they sent her to KU Med Center, and she was released yesterday afternoon.
But
So
she missed the
was-
event.
Yes, she was really upset.
And she was missed because she planned a lot of it.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks to the community and the city, the county.
It was, I sat with people from Dallas, Texas, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Ohio. Those were the people at my table. And all they could say was great things about Marysville, Kansas, which is pretty cool because like Darlene said, most of them go to big cities. And for them to talk about how wonderful our city was, that's pretty exciting. And how well it was supported
Yeah, and-
by the local people. They really loved that. So thank you to our community. Anything else, Darlene?
No.
Bobby? Gina?
I just had one person ask me about the road from the Legion down to 20th Street being how it's curved, how it'd be nice if it was straight. So that's,
He stopped me, and Dave Richardson was there, and Dave Richardson said it was owned by the Legion. Do you know what I'm talking about? The road between the Legion and the Armory?
Okay, yeah.
Whoever, I can't remember who was, but they wanted it to go straight. And it does have a hard curve, and then it's hard to go left. And he wanted to know if it could go straight. And I was talking to Dave because I said, well, we want to put the fire station there. We need to make sure we don't mess around with the fire station, but to see if we can make that straight, to see who owns that property, I guess is the main thing to do. That's the first step. And see if they want it straight.
I think
It was
that's on
just-
city property. I don't
So
think
too.
the Legion owns anything.
These,
Or maybe the National Guard. I'm just thinking about what
That-
Dave said.
No, that's the city. I think the National Guard, the Armory, and the Legion are built on city property.
You have that all as city-owned, that block?
I'd have to look, because there is something that says, from what the county has, it says National Guard here. And
Well.
so it's,
but if
there's some
they,
lined out
but if for
property.
some reason they pull out, everything reverts back to the city of Marysville.
And the Armory, and the Legion too. If the Legion would fold, that goes back to the city.
But I don't think it would give us, if it is listed as theirs, I don't think it gives us the ability to go in and change stuff. That's just
I know,
my-
Well, let's just find out who owns it, and let's see if
I
we
know a
can make
long
it straight.
time ago, there, just to the north of that drive that come in there, the Legion had or not the Legion, the Armory had a overhead pit that they drove trucks on that they could walk back in and change oil in. Remember that, Terry?
Yeah, that's a long time
It's been
ago.
a long time ago. But it was set to the north of that drive where they'd come out and they'd pull up over it, change oil and stuff in their trucks.
Well, they were a support battalion. They were mechanics.
Yeah.
So you'll look into that. Thank you. Terry?
No.
Is that all, Gina?
yep.
Terry?
I don't have anything to say.
Okay, Todd, do the rah-rah for the gravel dash, how great it was.
Oh, it was all right.
That was not impressive.
A lot more people attended than we might have feared because of the original route was a lot more interesting than the route that ended up getting run. But still, most people did show up. I think most people had a pretty good time. There were some really fast times. Turns out, once you get south of Highway 9, the roads were a lot better than the ones just here south of town. Wasn't bad. Went down, by Blaine and Wheaton and around to Lillis, up through Frankfort and Winifred to Beatty and around, 125 miles. I think most people were pretty happy. Heard a lot of good things. There was a Canadian couple who, this is 4 of the 5 years they've come here. They come down from Canada just to race it because they think it's a really friendly town and a neat area. So pretty cool experience, and I think it'll keep getting bigger and growing every year.
Did you finish?
Oh yeah.
How long?
Well, there's a story. The,
Before you
under
drank
the
a beer,
deadline,
what did you make it?
Under 11 hours, 10 hours and something. But an hour out of that was because we had a stray dog situation in Potawatomi County, and another rider and I took turns carrying a dog until we could find someone to take it, which is a lot less fun than it sounds like. It was kind of about this big, and it was a good rider. I mean, it would stand up and let its ears but we just, it was kind of a young pup, and we didn't think it would probably find its way home because it had followed us for probably 10, 12 miles. So.
That was very nice of you.
So we decided it was worth
The sacrifice for the animal.
for the pup. So
That was very sweet, very sweet. I talked to the guy who won the race, 6 hours and 45 minutes. He was
Yeah.
from Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
He was a roommate of Allie Argo's brother from the University of Wyoming, and loved it and said he's coming back. And so it was his first time to race it.
And that fast of a rider, he's probably pretty serious. Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Allie just made the call. Why didn't you come? And he came from Colorado, so that's pretty cool.
It's good.
All right, thanks for sharing. Great job, community, again, for the gravel dash. Diane?
Well, I heard lots of comments about the museums. One of the ladies went to the Doll Museum and she was really impressed. She said Lois is so enthusiastic and so knowledgeable, and that they thought it was Pony Express Museum and the Kester House. They just think we have a wonderful town and so historic and everybody's so friendly, so they were very impressed because I talked to several people from out of town. So.
Cool. We're glad they took advantage of our museum.
Yeah, so I guess all the museums were open as far as I know. I don't know about the depot. I don't know if it was open for tours or not. I don't have any idea, so, but I told them it was being restored so they could go down and look, but I don't know that it was open for them to go in.
And
so,
the
but-
asphalt parking lot south of the building is coming up.
I saw
So
that
to
ripped
go
up
back-
today.
Go back to green to a park like it used to be.
Oh, that's what you're gonna do, is put grass there? I saw it all ripped up and I go, when did they just do it, yesterday?
Yeah, they were working on it yesterday. So I think it'll look a lot better instead of just concrete and dirt and rock.
Yeah. So
Oh, and they
cool.
thought our squirrels were cute too. They were looking at the squirrels and wanted to find black squirrels, but I don't know how many of them found black squirrels, real black squirrels.
Pretty cool. Thanks, Diane. Anything else?
No,
Kevin?
Just the same as Diane, everyone else, talked to a lot of people in town this weekend. We had a great city, liked our squirrel statues that we have around town. They just thought those were cute, and a lot of pictures I noticed were taken with them.
That's so cool. Yeah, good job, Convention and Tourism. And
The only thing I forgot to bring up when we were talking about pool wages was overtime. Did we discuss?
about the pool staff?
Yeah, if they're working overtime, are we gonna pay them overtime or not? I mean,
Well, the
it's a
ideal is to
seasonal
have
worker.
20 staff, so we don't have to have,
Well, I know,
But-
but I mean, I'm just, if it comes up again next year,
I think, when, based on your survey, nobody paid overtime.
no, they don't. I'm not saying that's right, I'm just, I mean, and legally, they're seasonal workers, I mean, so legally, I mean, we can do it, I just don't, you know, myself, I feel that it's right if they're working 50 hours. Ideally, we'll have so many people,
I was gonna say, if we
Nobody
pay the
will have to work
certifications
overtime,
and we get our
you know.
20 staff, we should be in great shape. But will you do a listserv and, do you mind, is it okay if we do a listserv and see if any cities pay overtime? I'd be
Yeah.
curious to
I mean,
know.
do we have any others, workers that are considered seasonal that we don't pay overtime?
The overtime rule only applies to recreation seasonal,
Okay.
which is the pool.
So it's just a pool, that's,
We'll have Debbie do a
Yeah.
listserv and see what cities come back, okay?
And last week, I asked Austin, I said, how many people work 60 hours? He said only one, and that person, whenever anybody said, hey, is there anybody who can fill in for me? They volunteered.
volunteered, okay.
So one
That
person,
was the main story.
Yeah.
one person 60 hours, that's what you said?
That's what I know of, yeah.
So that was better. All right, with that being said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Todd, we're adjourned? No opposed? It's been a long day, right, Todd?
You have no idea.
I think we've got